Your wife checked into a hotel with my boyfriend. Do you want to check into a hotel with me to retaliate?
My girlfriend's best friend Huang Mingyue came to my store, took out the hotel room card and talked to me.
1.
I was taking inventory, and when I heard Huang Mingyue say that, I was stunned. What?
I say.
Tian Tian and Zhao Kai are together, don't you want to retaliate in kind?
Huang Mingyue saw that I was stunned and couldn't help but repeat the sentence anxiously.
Her words contained a lot of information, and I was stunned for a long time.
Su Tian Tian cheated on Zhao Kai? Revenge in return? The wife she was talking about was actually my girlfriend Su Tian Tian. She and I met through an introduction more than a year ago. I thought she was pretty and had a nice personality, so we started dating.
Huang Mingyue's boyfriend Zhao Kai, whom she met through a blind date last month, works in a bank and is quite handsome. They also came to our place and had dinner with us a few times.
I looked at the date and said, tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Last year on April Fool's Day, Su Tian Tian used Huang Mingyue to test me.
She asked me if I would be tempted by her beauty and cheat on her with her best friend.
Didn't he expect there would be something new this year? I'm serious. I have evidence of their cheating.
Seeing that I didn't believe her, Huang Mingyue immediately started taking out her cell phone from her bag and spoke to me with a serious face.
You wouldn't deliberately ask Zhao Kai to hug Tian Tian and take a few photos to tease me, right?
I smiled when I heard that and continued counting the goods, not taking it seriously.
Su Tian Tian and I have a very good relationship. We started living together over a month ago. Look for yourself.
Huang Mingyue put her cell phone in front of me. I took an absent-minded glance while counting the goods, and suddenly my head exploded. This is a surveillance video of a hotel corridor. Although it is a bit blurry, you can still tell at a glance that it is the two of them. The two walked forward in the hotel corridor while kissing passionately, their lips were almost thread-like. The video did not end until the two people entered the room, and the surveillance date showed that it was 10 o'clock in the evening 3 days ago.
I was not at home that night.
I was drinking and singing KTV with a client and didn't get home until 2 in the morning.
This couldn't be an April Fool's joke anymore, and I was instantly annoyed and angry. I have other evidence. Huang Mingyue said again at this time. Let me see. I said to Huang Mingyue, suppressing my anger. Huang Mingyue said, let's go to the hotel. I'll show you.
I glanced at Huang Mingyue, and I did feel a strong urge to retaliate. Zhao Kai screwed my girlfriend, so I retaliated by screwing his girlfriend.
What's the problem?
And to be honest, Huang Mingyue is prettier than Su Tian Tian and has a better figure than Su Tian Tian.
Huang Mingyue has a slim and tall figure, while Su Tian Tian is petite and cute. Moreover, Huang Mingyue is not like Su Tian Tian, a little woman who likes to act coquettishly.
She is the type of cold, strong-willed queen who never gives up.
The first time Su Tian Tian took me to meet Huang Mingyue, I was amazed by her. Men, we all love to look at beautiful women.
This has nothing to do with whether you have a girlfriend or a wife.
But it is just admiration.
After all, I have a girlfriend and our relationship is good.
There are so many beautiful things in the world that do not belong to you.
It is a blessing to have the opportunity to appreciate it, so don't think too much about other things. When I thought of Su Tian Tian's intoxicated look in the video just now, I felt more disgusted than angry.
I quickly regained my sanity. Mingyue, don't be impulsive. In fact, Huang Mingyue doesn't need to show me any other evidence, this video alone is enough. Huang Mingyue looked at me with an unhappy expression. They both checked into a hotel, and more than once. You actually advised me not to be impulsive?
Then she thrust the room card into my hand and said, you only have one chance.
It's up to you whether you want to come or not.
2. After Huang Mingyue left my store, I immediately picked up my phone and wanted to call Su Tian Tian.
Is it because I'm not good enough to her, or because I'm not satisfying her materially and physically? But I never dialed the number. It is an established fact that Su Tian Tian cheated on her husband. From the moment I saw the video, it was destined to be the end for us. But I can't just let it go like this. I will retaliate, even if it makes me sick. I will never let you have an easy time. Thinking of this, I looked at the room card in my hand and closed the store's rolling door. To be honest, when seeing a queen like Huang Mingyue, who wouldn't think of conquering her?
Now the opportunity is right in front of me, and I'm here for revenge.
They were wrong first, and I have my reasons.
I went there excitedly, with my mind full of revenge and venting.
But the moment I opened the door, I had already given up this idea. If I really checked into a hotel with Huang Mingyue, then what's the difference between us and them? What are you doing standing at the door? Come in. Just when I was wondering whether to leave, Huang Mingyue called out from the room. I hesitated for a moment, but still walked in. I thought I should talk to Huang Mingyue in person. I originally thought that by the time I arrived, Huang Mingyue would have already finished washing and was waiting for me in bed. But when I walked in, I found Huang Mingyue sitting at the desk in front of the window smoking. It was the first time I saw her smoking. It looked like her hair had indeed been washed, but her clothes were neatly dressed. Moreover, the anger on her beautiful face was gone, and she had long since regained her composure. I said to her at this time, "I've thought about it, we can't do this." Huang Mingyue glanced at me and said, "What? You're not angry? Don't you want revenge?" I nodded, "I'm angry. I want to, too. But we are not them after all." After Huang Mingyue took a puff of her cigarette, she stared at me for a long time without saying anything. Finally, she pulled out her cigarettes and tossed one to me. "After I lit it," she said, "I was just impulsive. After all, Zhao Kai and I have only been together for a month, and we haven't even held hands a few times. The worst that can happen is that we break up. There's nothing to say. Am I just angry at Tian Tian? If she wants to cheat, why would she look for my boyfriend? I'm so good to her and treat her like my own sister. I also feel sorry for you. You're so good to her." I smoked a cigarette and smiled bitterly. Maybe my kindness is not what she wants. Huang Mingyue looked at me, a trace of heartache on her face, but it was fleeting. "So what are you going to do? Go back and confront her?" I shook my head and said, "I haven't thought about it yet. By the way, didn't you say you had any other evidence?" Huang Mingyue then put out her cigarette, took out her cell phone and sent me a WeChat message. In addition to the surveillance video just now, there is also a chat record forwarding. I opened it and took a look, and instantly blood rushed to my head. "Sweetheart, baby, I just left the hotel and I miss you again. Kain, little fairy, I haven't fed you enough just now? Sweetheart, hate it. I just miss you. Kain, it's boring to always check into a hotel. When will it be fun to go to your house? Sweetheart, then I'll send you a message when he is not at home, hee hee." Xiao Chenxin and Kain are the WeChat names of Su Tiantian and Zhao Kai respectively, and their avatars also match. The time of this message was that it was sent shortly after they checked into the hotel room, as shown in the surveillance video. The previous chat records were even more disgusting, and there were even selfies that Su Tiantian sent while taking a shower. I took a long puff of my cigarette and felt so sick that I didn't want to read any further. I scrolled all the way to the top to see when they started. Before I could even turn the page, Huang Mingyue said, "It was a week after I first brought Zhao Kai to dinner with you guys. It was Tian Tian who took the initiative to flirt with Zhao Kai, but Zhao Kai didn't refuse. Just now I was actually thinking that even if she cheated on me, maybe my kindness to her wasn't what she wanted?" At this moment, I subconsciously looked at Huang Mingyue, and the desire for revenge once again occupied my heart. I immediately put out the cigarette and walked towards Huang Mingyue. Huang Mingyue was startled by me and stood up subconsciously. "Xiangzi." I looked at Huang Mingyue and panted, "Didn't you ask me to come?" Huang Mingyue panicked and said, "I was so angry that I lost my mind." "Xiangzi, don't be impulsive. You are always calm. And you just said that if we are like this, what is the difference between us and them?" When I saw the horror on Huang Mingyue's face and the fear in her eyes, I immediately regained my senses. "Yeah, what am I doing? No matter how I retaliate against Su Tiantian and Zhao Kai, it will not be excessive, but Huang Mingyue is innocent. I can't hurt Huang Mingyue just because I can't bear it." Thinking of this, I calmed down immediately and said to Huang Mingyue, "I'm sorry, I." Huang Mingyue finally heaved a sigh of relief and consoled him, "It's okay, I understand. I know you were just like me, you got carried away for a moment." I heard Huang Mingyue say this and nodded towards her. "Mingyue, thank you." Huang Mingyue smiled at me and said, "It doesn't matter. No matter what they are like, we are always friends." I said left the room card, said nothing more, and left the hotel directly. The moment Huang Mingyue heard me closing the door, she was dazed for a moment, and only let out a long sigh after a while. When I got home and opened the door, I saw Su Tiantian wearing an apron and busying around in the kitchen, humming a little tune. Seeing her virtuous appearance, I really can't connect her with those in the videos and chat records. "Hey, you're back? I was just about to call you. I made your favorite turtle soup." Su Tiantian saw me come back and winked at me.
I didn't say anything, sat down at the dining table, and looked at the table full of dishes that were all my favorites. There was also a big bowl of green turtle soup.
I felt like I was being stewed in the bowl by Su Tian.
Su Tian saw that I was in a bad mood, so she served me some food and asked me with concern, "Honey, what's wrong?" I took a deep breath and said, "Nothing, just business matters." Su Tian said with a distressed look on her face, "Hubby, I told you long ago that you don't have to work so hard. If you make more money, we'll spend more, and if you make less, we'll spend less.
You know me.
I don't care about how much money I make, as long as I'm with you." If she had been like this before, I would have definitely held her hand with satisfaction. I'm grateful that I have such a caring girlfriend.
But today I didn't say anything. Su Tian didn't say much.
She immediately picked up the empty bowl and served me a large bowl of soup.
Not only did I drink it, I also ate all the turtle in the basin. Seeing this, Su Tian smiled at me maliciously. "Eat so much? What do you want to do?"
Fuck. I immediately put down my chopsticks and dragged her into the room to test the car.
Since I have decided not to buy it, why not make it as much as possible before returning it?
The next morning, when Su Tian woke up, I had already packed my suitcase.
Su Tian opened her sleepy eyes and looked at me sitting on the sofa with an expressionless face. She was still surprised. "Hubby? It's so early, what are you doing with the suitcase? Are you going on a business trip?" But I didn't say anything and directly forwarded the surveillance video to her.
After she saw it, her face suddenly changed. "Honey, this video must be synthesized by AI, it's really not me."
4.
I sneered and sent the chat history to her again. When Su Tian saw the message, her eyes widened. I actually saw all kinds of complicated expressions on her face at once.
Su Tian suddenly grabbed my arm and said, "Hubby, listen to my explanation. It's not what you think." I lit a cigarette and watched her performance with interest. "Oh?" Su Tian quickly said, "Zhao Kai works in a bank. Don't you want to ask him to help you get a loan?" "So?" I took a long drag on my cigarette and said, "So you invited me to bed?" Su Tian quickly shook her head. "No. It was him, he seduced me. No, he threatened me, I was forced." I shrugged and said, "Did he threaten you to send him bathing photos? Did he threaten you to book a room and wait for her? Did he threaten you to call him hubby every time you send a message?" Su Tian was stunned for a moment.
She had just glanced at the chat history. Now when you hear me say this, you know that I have read all their chat records. I saw her standing there in a daze without saying anything else, so I stood up, pulled the suitcase and opened the door.
Su Tian hugged me from behind and said, "Honey, I was wrong. It's mainly because you are too busy and I am too bored. Please don't leave." "Okay, I promise I won't contact him anymore." But I threw the suitcase out the door and pried her hands apart. "Who said I want to leave? This is my home, why should I leave?"
When Su Tian heard this, she was stunned again. I pushed her out the door and slammed it shut. Su Tian finally reacted and hurriedly came up to knock on the door. Husband." I was too lazy to pay attention and just locked the door. I used up a lot of gas driving last night and didn't sleep well last night, so I need to refill my gas. When I woke up, it was almost noon. I picked up my phone and checked the time, only to find a lot of messages. Most of them were sent to me by Su Tian. "Hubby, I know I was wrong, please don't be angry, I know you still love me. Hubby, let us start over. Please forgive me this time. Hubby, let us get married and get the marriage certificate today. I'm too lazy to look at it anymore." What are you thinking? Still want to get a marriage certificate? Do you really think your head is a grassland? I didn't even reply and blocked her phone number in WeChat. I looked at my phone again and saw a WeChat message from Huang Mingyue. It contains the chat records between Su Tian and Zhao Kai. I opened it and saw that it was from this morning. "Sweetheart, Wang Chang knows about us. He has the video of us in the hotel corridor and the chat records." "Kain, what's going on? Does Mingyue know?" "Sweetheart, how would I know? He was fine when he came back last night, but he was like this during the day after tormenting me all night. Kain, let us meet after I get off work tonight. I'm at work. You can book a room and wait for me." I looked at the time they were chatting, and it was obviously earlier than the time Su Tian sent me the message asking for my forgiveness. I couldn't help but sneer. "Humph, just like that,
you're still begging for my forgiveness and want to marry me? But then I thought of one thing, the chat record between Zhao Kai and Su Tiantian. How did Huang Mingyue get it so quickly? And according to the message, Zhao Kai said he was in the class. Thinking of this, I immediately called Huang Mingyue. I asked straight to the point, did you install software on Zhao Kai's phone? Huang Mingyue did not hide it, yes. I have long suspected that he was doing something behind my back, but I didn't expect it to be Tiantian. I asked Huang Mingyue, Su Tiantian and I have come to a complete showdown, what are you going to do? Huang Mingyue sneered, what should I do? Just forget it. There are so many things about Zhao Kai. It's just that I only sent you the ones about him and Tiantian. Besides, I don't care about other things about him. After all, he and I just started, and we don't have any emotional foundation. I just hate him for eating grass in his own yard and for Tiantian treating me like this. Although Zhao Kai is not a good guy either. I checked the time and said, well, let's have lunch together at noon. Give me all the information you have. Huang Mingyue asked, are you going to deal with Zhao Kai? I sneered and said, shouldn't it be? Why? Don't tell me you can't bear to do it? Huang Mingyue immediately spat, how is that possible? Well, let's talk about it when we meet at noon. After hanging up the phone, I got up, changed my clothes, went to the master bedroom, took off all the bedding on the bed and threw it on the floor. Then I took all the things that Su Tiantian didn't take away, packed them up and threw them into the bedding, then took them downstairs and threw them into the trash can. Before going out, I changed the password of the fingerprint lock at home and deleted her fingerprint. Just as I was about to start driving, I heard a voice in my ear, hubby, you finally came out. As soon as I heard the voice, I knew it was Su Tiantian. She had been waiting for me in the garage? I got into the car without looking back and locked the door as soon as I sat down. Sure enough, when she saw me get in the car, she immediately came over and kept pulling the door. I didn't even look at her and immediately drove the car out of the garage. Just before I left the underground garage, I vaguely heard Su Tiantian yelling, Wang Chang, you bastard. I turned on the stereo, listened to soft music, and completely relaxed. It's just a car that I once liked, but after a test drive I found that it had many problems and was leaking oil, so I didn't want to buy it anymore. What's there to regret? But the person who came out and snatched your driver's seat during my test drive is unforgivable. Soon I arrived at the restaurant where I had an appointment with Huang Mingyue. Huang Mingyue arrived earlier than me and ordered a cup of coffee for me. What she wore today was different from what she wore yesterday, and she looked more elegant. After I sat across from her, she stared at me and said, not bad, you don't look that haggard. I thought to myself, luckily I ate a whole turtle last night, otherwise I might not be able to drive all night. I also said to Huang Mingyue, you look better than I thought. Huang Mingyue shrugged and said, I've told you several times that Zhao Kai and I didn't have a strong relationship at the beginning. If we break up, then we break up. I definitely don't care. But after all, you have been with Tiantian for more than a year. I took a sip of coffee and it turned out to be my favorite flavor. I couldn't help but look at Huang Mingyue, how do you know I don't add sugar in milk? Huang Mingyue shrugged and said, it's not like I haven't had dinner with you before. If you see it a few times, you will know it, right? I nodded and then asked, Zhao Kai, do you have any other questions? Huang Mingyue didn't say anything, but took out her cell phone and kept forwarding messages to me. I watched them one by one, and just the first one shattered my 3 views. The other party turned out to be a wealthy woman in her 50s. In order to please the other party and get her to help him with the deposit business, Zhao Kai kept calling her little sister. And looking at the chat records, you can tell that the 2 of them had checked into a hotel. There are more than one such piece of information, and many of them are wealthy women who are older and have some assets. Occasionally there were some young ones, but they didn't look that good, and Zhao Kai always called them dear. I got goosebumps all over my body when I saw this. Does Zhao Kai work in a bank or a KTV? Huang Mingyue said at this time, these are nothing. Look down. Land. I continued to look through the chat records between Zhao Kai and others. One of them caught my attention. He was deceiving wealthy ladies into buying their financial products. When they talk about it, they make all kinds of exaggerated statements, saying that the rewards are huge and that it is more cost-effective than putting down a deposit. However, there was not a single mention of the risks of financial products. I couldn't help but mutter, this is theoretically a scam, right? Huang Mingyue nodded and said, of course, and there are more than one such person.
But this is not what disgusts me the most.
I couldn't help but frown and look at Huang Mingyue. Is there anything else disgusting? Huang Mingyue's expression moved slightly, and she was obviously trying to control her emotions. After she finished her coffee, she told me, Zhao Kai and I are my mother's best friends. Aunt Lu introduced us. My heart suddenly moved, and I vaguely felt something was going on.
Huang Mingyue said, this Aunt Lu is Zhao Kai's client, and she was also fooled into buying a lot of financial products. Their chat records are also disgusting. I wanted to find it and take a look, but Huang Mingyue said, I didn't send you Aunt Lu's, so don't look at it.
I said, just give me one. Huang Mingyue blushed and said, why do you want to watch these disgusting things?
But I said to Huang Mingyue, if we want to deal with Zhao Kai, maybe your Aunt Lu is the best candidate for rebellion. Huang Mingyue seemed to understand what I meant, but she still didn't send me away. Instead, he opened his phone, found the record and said to me, I won't send this to you, come and take a look. As soon as I heard this, I knew that in this message, Zhao Kai and Aunt Lu must have talked about some of Huang Mingyue's privacy.
It's understandable that Huang Mingyue doesn't want me to know.
I held the coffee cup and walked over to sit next to Huang Mingyue. Huang Mingyue then slowly flipped through the chat history for me to see, but she was very nervous and flipped through it very quickly.
But I caught a piece of information in an instant. Spring is here, flowers are blooming, ah? Zhao Kai, you are not good enough either, it's been a month, and you still haven't won that girl over?
Kain, I don't know if she has a problem, she can't even hold hands for more than a minute.
Forget about kissing.
Huang Mingyue also saw the message and immediately glanced over it, but a barely perceptible blush appeared on her face. I said, it seems that your Aunt Lu has spent a lot of money on Zhao Kai.
Huang Mingyue coughed dryly and then said, yes, I calculated it for her, and it's at least over 4 million.
I took a deep breath and said, take me to meet Aunt Lu.
Huang Mingyue asked me, what are you going to do? Before I could answer, I heard a woman's voice behind me, okay, you still say it's my problem, I guess you two have been together for a long time? Huang Mingyue and I both changed our expressions because we both recognized it as Su Tiantian's voice.
The few guests around heard her shout and looked over in surprise. But I pretended not to hear it, and stood up and said to Huang Mingyue, let's go. Huang Mingyue nodded, picked up her bag and followed me.
Su Tiantian was relentless. Huang Mingyue, are you worthy of me?
I still regard you as my best friend, but now you are secretly dating my boyfriend. Huang Mingyue suddenly stopped when she heard that, turned around and glared at her, Su Tiantian, don't be the first to complain.
You know best what you have done, and I don't want to embarrass you in public.
If you keep talking nonsense, I will send the things in my hand to your parents.
Su Tiantian was originally very arrogant, as if she had really caught Huang Mingyue and me in some kind of handle.
But he was so scared by Huang Mingyue's words that he quickly shut his mouth. I didn't even bother to look at her and just went out and got in the car.
Huang Mingyue also got into my car and sat in the passenger seat. When Su Tiantian came out, my car had already left.
She immediately took out her cell phone and quickly sent a message to Zhao Kai, Wang Chang and Mingyue are together.
7.
I had just driven a short distance when Huang Mingyue's cell phone rang.
She glanced at him and couldn't help but frown. Zhao Kai.
I couldn't help but say, Su Tiantian must have told him that you and I are together. Huang Mingyue snorted coldly at this time, although I haven't confronted him directly, I am really disgusted by him now.
But I said, take it. It's good to hear his excuses. Huang Mingyue immediately pressed the speakerphone and answered the call. As soon as the call was connected, Zhao Kai said on the phone, Mingyue, where are you?
Huang Mingyue snorted coldly, you're asking even though you already know the answer.
Didn't Su Tiantian tell you?
Zhao Kai said quickly, Mingyue, my boss and I have asked for leave.
Let's meet. It's hard to explain over the phone. Huang Mingyue asked, is it necessary?
Zhao Kai immediately argued, I know you won't believe me no matter what I say now. When I heard this, I immediately reached out and pressed the recording button on Huang Mingyue's phone.
Huang Mingyue looked at me knowingly.
But Zhao Kai continued on the phone, it was Su Tiantian. She was the one who seduced me. Wang Chang must have shown you our chat records.
You should have seen it.
She was the one who took the initiative to tease me. What Zhao Kai said was actually the truth.
But Huang Mingyue still said, she flirted with you, and you took the bait? Are you so cheap?
Zhao Kai quickly said, no, Mingyue, listen to my explanation.
Actually, we were both drunk the first time, and I don't remember anything. After that, Su Tiantian used this incident to threaten me, and I had to give in.
Huang Mingyue and I smiled at each other as we listened, knowing full well that this was a story made up by Zhao Kai. We just listened silently while the phone continued to record silently. Zhao Kai described Su Tiantian as worthless and good for nothing on the phone. In short, in order to clear himself, he did everything he could and threw all the dirty water on Su Tiantian. Even though Huang Mingyue hated Su Tiantian for betraying both her and me, she couldn't bear to listen any longer.
That's enough. I don't want to hear any more.
You said so much, but it's nothing more than saying that it's all Tiantian's fault.
You're not wrong at all, right? Let me tell you, Zhao Kai. No matter how dirty or mean Su Tiantian is, it's not your turn to say anything. Bye. I couldn't help but smile and didn't say anything. Huang Mingyue couldn't help but look at me and said, "Why don't you express any opinions?" I cleared my throat and said, "Oh, yes. I think you summed it up very well. One of them is a bitch, and the other is a bitch. Overall, Zhao Kai is slightly better." Huang Mingyue was amused by what I said. "You're still in the mood to joke?" I shrugged slightly and said, "Come on, it's not them or me who are at fault. Why should I punish myself for the mistakes of two bitches?" Huang Mingyue nodded slightly, indicating that she agreed with what I said. "You are right, we should happily say goodbye to the past, kick the bitch away, protect ourselves. Welcome our bright future." As he spoke, Huang Mingyue clenched his fist and made a Superman gesture. It was the first time I saw her make such cute gestures that only Su Tiantian could do, and I couldn't help but look at her a few more times. Huang Mingyue also felt my gaze and immediately reminded me, "Drive carefully, we are still young and have a lot of youth to waste." 8. Soon I drove to Aunt Lu's house. Aunt Lu was dressed in fancy clothes, wearing gold and silver jewelry and heavy makeup, and was watering the flowers in her villa. When he saw Huang Mingyue and I coming, he immediately invited us in warmly. Huang Mingyue didn't waste time talking to Aunt Lu and directly put the chat history between her and Zhao Kai in front of her.
Aunt Lu's face changed drastically and she was stunned for a long time without saying a word. After recovering from his shock, he quickly explained to Huang Mingyue, "Mingyue, it's not what you think." Huang Mingyue was too lazy to waste time talking to her and said directly, "Why do you people who do such things always say the same thing?"
But I said to Aunt Lu, "Did Zhao Kai tell you about the risks of the financial products he persuaded you to buy?"
Aunt Lu shook her head and said in a daze, "No, he said it was a sure win."
I continued, "If we ask you to report him to the police right now, can you do it?" Aunt Lu's face changed and she said, "How can that be possible?"
"I invested without your Uncle Lu's knowledge."
"What should I do if he finds out?" Huang Mingyue said, "Now that things have come to this, do you think you can keep it a secret?"
I said, "We could have sent this record directly to your husband." When Aunt Lu heard this, she panicked, "Mingyue, I am sorry for you."
"Don't tell your Uncle Lu. If he knows, I will be dead." Huang Mingyue looked at me thoughtfully, and it was obvious that she didn't want to destroy Aunt Lu's family either.
I said, "Just call the police. When you are taking a statement or going to court, let Mingyue accompany you.
We can apply for a closed trial."
Huang Mingyue also thought that my method was appropriate and nodded, "This is the greatest tolerance I can give you." Aunt Lu was still hesitating, the sweat on her face had ruined her makeup, and she looked extremely pitiful and ridiculous. But when I think about how her good life ended up like this, she doesn't deserve sympathy. I said, "Call Zhao Kai first and ask him how much money you have left in your financial products."
When Aunt Lu heard this, she was moved and asked, "You mean, he fell?"
I shook my head and said, "I don't know, so I'll let you ask yourself. If he says the price is going up, just say you'll continue to cash out, and you'll know if he lets you do it." Aunt Lu immediately took out her cell phone and called Zhao Kai. Huang Mingyue also followed my example and pressed the speakerphone and recording buttons on Aunt Lu's phone.
Aunt Lu then asked, "Zhao Kai, what's the current situation of my financial management?"
Zhao Kai said on the phone, "The situation is very good now, and the price has increased a lot.
I think you should take advantage of this opportunity and buy a few more."
Aunt Lu said, "Zhao Kai, I'm sorry, something happened at home and I need money urgently.
Can you give me some cash?"
Zhao Kai hurriedly said, "Cash out?
If you cash out now, you may lose a lot of money."
Aunt Lu said quickly, "The 4 million I put in your place has also increased a lot.
Please calculate it for me. At worst, I don't want the new interest. I just want the principal." Zhao Kai began to hesitate. "I'm telling you, it's really not appropriate to leave now." When Aunt Lu heard this, no matter how dumb she was, she understood. "Did I lose money?"
Zhao Kai hesitated for a while and said, "To be honest, the market is not very good recently, but don't worry."
Huang Mingyue winked at Aunt Lu, and Aunt Lu understood. Let's do this for now, and contact each other later. After hanging up the phone, I said to Aunt Lu, now you believe it, right? Zhao Kai has been lying to you since the beginning. Aunt Lu said, Mingyue, can you let me think about it?
Huang Mingyue said, at the latest by this time tomorrow, if you don't contact me tomorrow, I will send it directly to Uncle Lu.
I glanced at Aunt Lu, who was in a state of dismay, and couldn't help but shake my head. Just as we were about to leave, a text message came on my phone and I was stunned when I saw it. Huang Mingyue looked at me in surprise. What's wrong? I immediately said, 360,000 yuan was withdrawn from my card. And it was withdrawn from several banks. Then I remembered that although Su Tiantian was driven away by me, one of my bank cards was still with her. Huang Mingyue seemed to understand what I meant. Did Tiantian take it?
I nodded, then pulled Su Tiantian out of the blacklist and called her.
However, Su Tiantian hung up the call directly and didn't answer it at all.
Huang Mingyue showed me her phone at this time. Zhao Kai just contacted Tiantian. I looked at their chat history and found that it was after Huang Mingyue and I left Aunt Lu's house. Zhao Kai was looking for Su Tiantian to borrow money, and his tactics were similar to the ones he used to fool Aunt Lu.
It is said that the bank is holding an event recently and has launched a set of very profitable financial products.
Everyone in their bank had bought it, but he didn't have enough money and wanted to borrow from Su Tiantian. He also said that when he made a profit, he would give all the capital and interest to Su Tiantian and treat it as her investment. If there was a loss, it would be Zhao Kai's. I never expected that Su Tiantian would take the money from my card without even thinking about it. I called Su Tiantian a few more times, but she still didn't answer. I immediately called Zhao Kai again.
Zhao Kai answered the call but didn't say anything.
I said bluntly, every penny Su Tiantian gave you was taken from me without asking.
If you dare to accept it, you will go to jail. Huang Mingyue also took the opportunity to show Aunt Lu what Zhao Kai had just said to Su Tiantian. Look, did he say the same thing when he was fooling you?
But I stood up and said, I don't care how long you take to think about it, I'm going to call the police.
If I get you involved passively, it will have nothing to do with me. When Aunt Lu heard this, she immediately stood up and said, then I'll go with you. Huang Mingyue and I looked at each other and immediately took Aunt Lu with us to report the case.
After Aunt Lu and I explained the situation, the police station immediately opened a case for investigation. The police also called Su Tiantian, and this time she answered the phone. But after hearing what the police said, he immediately said, that's my own money, why can't I take it?
The policeman asked, is it your own money?
Is the card registered with your ID card?
Su Tiantian added, that's the pocket money my boyfriend gave me.
The policeman said, it was your boyfriend who called the police and said that you two had broken up. Now you'd better come to the police station and explain the situation yourself.
Su Tiantian didn't say anything, but I knew she was not brave enough to not come. Soon Su Tiantian came over in a taxi.
When she came in and saw Huang Mingyue and I were there, her face changed immediately. The police immediately asked her to explain where the money had gone.
Su Tiantian took it all out of her bag, but she didn't have time to give it to Zhao Kai. The police also asked her, taking without asking is stealing, don't you understand this? He also asked me, now that the money has been recovered, do you want to pursue the matter? I thought about it and said, forget it.
It's my fault for not asking for the card back when we broke up.
Just get the money back. After we both signed our agreement, we left the police station.
But Huang Mingyue still had to stay with Aunt Lu and continue waiting for her case. Su Tiantian, who was very cowardly at the police station, sneered at me as soon as she left the police station. Wang Chang, you really make me feel sick.
I looked at her in surprise. Su Tiantian said, I've been dating you for a year, so what's wrong with using your money? I've been with you for a whole year, and 360,000 is more than that? I couldn't help but frown and said, who the hell is going to compensate me for the time I wasted on you? Also, who are you going to give the money to? Don't you have any sense?
I didn't let you have a criminal record, but I'm just explaining to you for the past year.
Fuck. After saying this, I turned and left, not wanting to pay any attention to her for even a second. She was left there screaming helplessly.
Pick up. Later I heard from Huang Mingyue that Zhao Kai had been taken from the bank to the police station to assist in the investigation.
Moreover, he was taken away in front of all his colleagues in the bank.
This time he was completely finished. Because in addition to Aunt Lu's case, he has many similar cases under his jurisdiction.
Pull out the radish and bring out the mud, one after another exploded.
Moreover, not long after Zhao Kai was arrested, those who had come to Zhao Kai to buy financial products went to the bank to make trouble. In the end, Zhao Kai's several cases were tried together.
But even though everything about Zhao Kai was exposed, Su Tiantian still didn't want to believe it.
She always felt that Zhao Kai was framed by Huang Mingyue and I for revenge. Huang Mingyue directly sent the recording of how Zhao Kai scolded Su Tiantian that day to Su Tiantian. From then on, Huang Mingyue and I no longer cared about these things and started living our own lives again.
After that, we would occasionally make an appointment to have a meal together or something. Over time, Huang Mingyue and I became close friends who could talk about anything. The relationship is even better than before, but there is no such thing as pure friendship between men and women. In fact, we both have a good impression of each other, and we all know that the other person at least has a good impression of himself. But this layer of window paper has never been broken. And Huang Mingyue also knew that I had just broken up with Su Lily, and she didn't know what I was thinking exactly. Although Huang Mingyue and Zhao Kai had dated, in this era, what kind of relationship is it if they hadn't even held hands a few times? Later I heard that Zhao Kai's case had been sentenced, and I was too lazy to find out the result. Huang Mingyue also heard that Su Tiantian had left the city.
It just so happened that my business had entered its peak season recently and I was already too busy to care where she went. After that, Huang Mingyue would occasionally come to my store to see me after get off work and bring me food. Sometimes when I had something in my hands and couldn't free my hands, Huang Mingyue would take the initiative to feed me.
I didn't seem to feel it was anything special, so I just ate it. But people around me feel that there is something special between Huang Mingyue and me. When Huang Mingyue was not around, someone asked me, "Brother Chang, how about I introduce you to a girlfriend?" I responded directly, "No. How can I have time for a relationship?" He smiled and said, "You have Sister Mingyue now, so you have nothing else to do, right?" I just smiled and didn't comment. After the peak season, I finally have some free time.
A friend happened to give me 2 movie tickets, and the first person I thought of was Huang Mingyue, so I called her. Unexpectedly, Huang Mingyue said on the phone, "I was just about to call you."
What a coincidence. My friend also gave me 2 movie tickets, so I wanted to call you.
I smiled and said, "My movie is a foreign film called Burning Ambiguity."
What movie is yours?
Huang Mingyue said, "My movie is a Chinese one, called Speak Out Your Love."
After hearing the title of the movie, we both fell silent.
It seems like these 2 movies were tailor-made for us. The time we watched the movie happened to be right at the beginning and end of the show, with only a quarter of an hour between them. I immediately smiled and said, "That's perfect, let's have dinner together first, and then watch 2 shows in a row, so nothing will be wasted." In the evening, I went home, took a shower, changed into clean clothes, and then went to the appointment.
This time I arrived first.
After waiting for less than 10 minutes, I saw Huang Mingyue coming.
And the clothes she was wearing today were the same ones she wore when Su Tiantian brought her to see me for the first time.
That time, although I was shocked by her beauty, I didn't dare to look at her for too long. After all, I had a girlfriend. This time, I looked at Huang Mingyue without reservation. The greatest respect a man can show a woman is to give her the greatest admiration with his eyes.
We ate and chatted, talking about everything. In the eyes of outsiders, we are just a couple. It's just that we haven't pointed it out yet. Although Huang Mingyue is relatively proactive both at work and in her interpersonal relationships. But emotionally, she is a woman after all. And even if she wanted to take the initiative, I wouldn't allow it. Because I decided to take the initiative tonight and leave no regrets. After the movie ends, I am ready to confess my true feelings to Huang Mingyue. I know Huang Mingyue is also waiting for this moment. Over.